Some people struggle to say no. Not because they have too much time. Not because they truly want to do everything. But because disappointing someone feels more painful than exhausting themselves. So they keep saying yes. Yes to extra work. Yes to favors. Yes to invitations they do not want. Yes to responsibilities that were never theirs to carry. Little by little, their own needs move to the bottom of the list. They tell themselves it is kindness. That helping others is simply who they are. And kindness is beautiful, but there is a quiet difference between kindness and self-abandonment. Kindness comes from choice. Self-abandonment comes from fear. The fear of rejection. The fear of conflict. The fear that saying no might make someone love you less. Many people spend years believing they are generous, when in reality, they are terrified. Terrified that setting one boundary will cost them a relationship. Terrified that putting themselves first, even once, will make them selfish. So they continue giving, even when they are empty. Even when they are overwhelmed. Even when every yes slowly becomes another weight they were never meant to carry. The saddest part is that this habit often goes unnoticed. From the outside, they look dependable, reliable, thoughtful, strong. But inside, they are quietly asking a question they rarely say out loud. When will someone care for me the way I care for everyone else? Perhaps you have asked yourself that question too. And if you have, this video is for you. The need to please everyone rarely appears overnight. For many people, it begins much earlier than they realize. Sometimes it begins in childhood. When love felt connected to achievement. When praise came only after good grades, good behavior, or meeting expectations. Without anyone saying the words directly, a quiet lesson was learned. If I make other people happy, I will be accepted. If I cause problems, I may lose love. So the child becomes careful. They learn to read everyone's emotions. They notice disappointment before anyone speaks. They apologize even when nothing is their fault. They become the peacemaker, the responsible one, the easy child. As the years pass, those survival habits become part of their identity. They grow into adults who instinctively scan every room for tension, who worry more about other people's comfort than their own, who feel responsible for emotions that were never theirs to carry. Even in healthy relationships, they struggle to relax. Because somewhere deep inside, they still believe acceptance must be earned, not received. This is why saying no can feel surprisingly frightening. It is not simply a word. To someone who has spent years earning love through sacrifice, no feels like rejection. It feels like conflict. It feels like risking the very connection they have worked so hard to protect. So instead of saying what they truly need, they smile, they agree, they stay silent, and each time they ignore their own feelings, they teach themselves one painful message. My needs matter less. After enough years, that belief becomes almost invisible. It quietly shapes every friendship, every relationship, every decision, until one day, they wake up exhausted. Not because life demanded too much, but because they spent years carrying responsibilities that never belonged to them. The tragedy is not that they are kind. The tragedy is that they forgot kindness should also include themselves. The hardest part is, most people never notice this is happening. From the outside, you seem dependable, kind, thoughtful, always willing to help. People admire how calm you are, how patient you seem, how rarely you complain. But no one sees what happens after the conversation ends. They don't see you replaying every word in your mind, wondering if you disappointed someone, worrying whether you should have done more, or feeling guilty for protecting even a small piece of your own time. Slowly, your life stops being guided by your own values. It becomes guided by other people's expectations. You begin making decisions based on what will upset others the least, not on what gives your own life meaning. One day you realize, you have become an expert at understanding everyone else's needs, but a stranger to your own. When someone asks, "What do you want?" you hesitate, not because the answer is difficult, but because you have not asked yourself that question in years. This is how people slowly lose themselves, not through one dramatic moment, but through thousands of tiny moments of self-abandonment. Every forced smile, every unnecessary apology, every promise made while your heart quietly whispered, "I don't have the strength." Eventually, the exhaustion is no longer physical. It becomes emotional. You wake up feeling empty without knowing why. Nothing seems terribly wrong, yet nothing feels truly right. Because a life spent trying to become acceptable to everyone leaves very little space to become yourself. The turning point does not come when people finally appreciate everything you've done, because they may never fully see it. The turning point comes when you ask yourself a different question. What if my worth has never depended on keeping everyone happy? For many people, this thought feels almost impossible to accept, because they have spent so many years believing that love must be earned, that respect must be earned, that belonging must be earned, always through giving more, doing more, sacrificing more. But real relationships do not require you to disappear. Real love does not ask you to betray yourself. And real kindness does not begin with abandoning your own needs. There is a quiet strength in saying, I understand your feelings, but I also need to honor mine. That is not selfishness, it is self-respect. Boundaries are often misunderstood. People imagine walls, distance, coldness, but healthy boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are doors that allow the right people to come closer without asking you to lose yourself. Some people may not like your boundaries. They may call you distant. They may say you've changed. Perhaps you have, not because you care less, but because you have finally learned that caring for yourself is not the opposite of caring for others. It is the foundation that allows both to exist together. You cannot pour peace into someone else's life while your own heart remains empty. And perhaps, for the first time in a long time, it is time to stop asking, how can I make everyone happy? And begin asking, how can I live honestly with myself? Change does not begin the day you suddenly become fearless. It begins the day you become honest. Honest enough to admit when you are tired. Honest enough to say, I can't do that today. Honest enough to stop apologizing for having limits. You do not need to explain every boundary. Not everyone will understand, and that is okay. The people who truly care about you may need time to adjust, but they will not ask you to sacrifice your well-being just to make them comfortable. Start with something small. The next time you feel the urge to say, yes, immediately pause. Take one slow breath. Ask yourself a simple question. Am I doing this from kindness or from fear? That single question can change more than you imagine. Because every meaningful boundary begins with awareness. Little by little, you will notice something unexpected. You no longer feel responsible for fixing every problem. You stop carrying emotions that belong to someone else. You stop measuring your worth by how useful you are. And for the first time in a long time, your energy begins returning to you. Not because life has become easier, but because you have stopped giving pieces of yourself away without noticing. The goal is not to become someone who never helps. The goal is to become someone whose kindness is a gift, not a survival strategy. When kindness comes from peace, it heals both you and the people around you. When it comes from fear, it quietly empties you. Choose the kind of kindness that allows you to remain whole. Perhaps the strongest people are not the ones who never disappoint anyone. Perhaps they are the ones who finally stop disappointing themselves. There will always be another request, another expectation, another reason to put yourself last. If you wait until everyone is satisfied before caring for your own life, that day may never come. You were never meant to carry every burden. You were never meant to solve every problem. And you were never meant to earn your place in this world by sacrificing your peace. The people who truly belong in your life will not expect you to become smaller so they can feel more comfortable. They will respect the moments when you choose honesty over people-pleasing. Because real connection is not built on endless agreement. It is built on authenticity. So the next time you feel guilty for saying no, remember this. Every time you protect your peace, you are also protecting your ability to love, to give, and to be present in a way that is genuine. Not forced, not exhausted, just real. Take one slow breath. You do not need to become a different person overnight. You only need one small act of courage. One honest answer. One healthy boundary. That is how quiet strength begins. Not by pleasing everyone, but by finally making room for yourself. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment with the words, I choose peace. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're walking this journey toward a calmer, stronger, and more meaningful life, subscribe and join us here at The Quiet Strength. Until next time, find strength within, live in peace.